Alright, so this will be a quick rundown of the Bannerlord smithing system. It is not explained in-game at all, which I think is a horrible, horrible idea. Because if you don't know what you're doing, it seems so daunting and you're going, how do I find this? How do I get this? And then when you finally figure it out, it's kind of like, oh, I get it. But as you might guess, most of it takes place in the smithy. So let's take a look at that. Alright, so this is the smithy, or the smithing screen. And there's a couple of things to quickly note. This is your difficulty meter. This is your weapon. You can change what you want to make over here on that screen real quick. I can make a dagger, throwing knife, javelin, two-handed mace, what have you. You will need to unlock some of these parts first. More difficult parts do have a sizable impact on difficulty. And the parts you choose also have a difficulty, or have a difference, on the various damages and stats your sword will have. For example, this has a 2.8 swing factor damage. The higher blade has a 4.2. So you are getting something beneficial out of those higher ones. Same thing goes for the rest of these. Hand armor gets better as you go up. Now, with that said, I will mention, not all stats shown here show up down here. Hand armor does not. So you do have to keep that in mind. You can also take a look at what your stats will do if, say, there's multiple things. For example, if you have pole arms, you have one arm and two hand. And the stats do change. You can also manipulate things. For example, if you make the sword longer, the blade longer, you can actually manipulate each of these differently, and they affect stats. Damage, swing, handling. Most notably, they change the difficulty of the weapon, and going shorter does not, surprisingly enough, make them easier. So keep that in mind. With that said, we should probably talk about the most important part, which is the materials. This is the part people always look for. And the materials, I have none of which, are going to be found almost exclusively through two methods. Some will be found through trading. Hardwood is notably found almost predominantly through trading, or if you sack a caravan, you can get it that way. Others are found through smelting and refining. Refining is pretty much taking one item and turning it into a different one. Smelting is a little different. It's more of a disassembling. For example, I can take this Highland Spiked Club, and I can throw a charcoal in, and I get crude iron, wrought iron, and 3 hardwood. Hardwood is also obtained doing this method. But before we can do any of this, I need to go and get myself some hardwood. So how do I do that? Well, you go out of here, you go to trade. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. You pick up, where is it? Hardwood, 14. I'll also pick up, say, 6 iron ore. Then I'll go to the smithy. I'll refine some of these, say 4. Let's make 5. Oh, good. And I'll disassemble each one of these. You'll also, by the way, notice that when you disassemble something, you get the parts to it. You unlock it. Which is nice. Or rather, it seems you get random parts. I'm not really sure how that works. I'm still working on that. But once you unlock them, you just have to find them, which can be a bit difficult because some of these have quite the magnificent amount of stuff. Let's take a look at daggers, for example. I think I got something from the daggers. Yes, there it is. See, I have a couple of these options. And I want to just kind of play with this a little. Blade's a little longer. That was a little disappointing. I think I also have... Oh well. Anyway, once you're done, and your difficulty's up, all you have to do is click Forge. And it'll forge this crafted blade. You can change the name. You'll notice that it does subtract points. This is because it was too difficult. You can change the name, by the way. There you go. I now have a blade called I Made This Thing. Huzzah! I made this thing. Huzzah, husband. Didn't think that through. But there you go. That is the smithing process.